sir.
Now, the slave trade was the triangle that went from Massachusetts or Boston or uh, Rhode Island and thereabouts towards the Ivory Coast, right? At the Ivory Coast, point of interest, they were able to pick up, the slaves. And so on the slave trade, once, these ships got to the Ivory Coast, the point of interest, the port of interest, they picked up the slaves. Now, how did they procure these slaves? They didn't, stop in that port and then go out to hunt or search for slaves and bring them, capture them and bring them back to the ships. From the way that I understand it, my studies show that there was some sort of they were brought to the ships by
sold out
other Africans,
yes,
right?
Sir.
And other melanated groups.
Yes,
and now I don't want to get into it whether they were Hamites, or I don't want to get into all of that, because that's something that requires more research, right?
Yes,
and I came to a block where I couldn't get any further with that, so I had to just leave it as is. But now, because I don't want to create any type of dissension between, the original people. And from there, the Ivory Coast now to, you can't go back to the States, got to go down to the Caribbean. And during that voyage, you're breaking them in. You want them to stop speaking their native language. You want them to stop worshiping their native creator.
Yes.
You want them broken. And during that voyage also, you got to understand, this has got to be very traumatic for the people who are in hiding, who've been running all this time, to really be caught and really be doing this kind of voyage, right? And so, you got those that are getting sick. You got those that, and this is coming from my elders told me these things. You understand? Wow. This is not something that I'm reading anymore. Right. Like now, I'm getting into what's been passed down to me, right?
Wow.
So now you throwing captains off of the plank. You're throwing them off the ships now, because you're talking about a real rebellious people. You're talking about the people God's people who were running, and you could just imagine what they've seen. All of the books that are in the Bible, like, these are the people that all this was about. Yes, so sir. They're not just gonna lay down and do the trip. You know what I'm saying? They gonna try to, right. And so what happened? They made the voyage to the Caribbean, right? And then they dropped off the ones that were the most rebellious, that would not be allowed or not be granted permission to go from the Caribbean back up to the States, to the promised land, right? Which is the US at the time, right?
Oh.
And right. So also the strongest, the pairs, the breeding pairs that the colonials, because remember, they understood animal husbandry and all that too, because we're talking about very wise people. We're talking about the people who run the world now. Right.
I know where you're
right.
going. I know where
They've been running it for a while. They you know what I'm saying? They've been running this for a long time. Right.
Yeah.
So, and as a matter of fact, they were meant, it was written and foresaw and prophesied that they would do this. You know what I'm saying? This is what, they are the rulers of all of this here. Right. So, anyway, they, dropped off the ones who got sick, the ones who weren't fit to make it, the ones who were the most rebellious, like, oh shit, we're not taking you. Your black ass, you got to stay here. And so we were marooned.
Marooned. Yep, marooned. Yeah.
A fraction of this were marooned. Now, the other faction or fraction of the slaves that were taken there were permitted to go to the States. And so now you have, and of course they came to, back to Massachusetts, back to the Rhode Island, to Boston. You got Roger Williams there. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, these, you can look them up. And so they got there. Now, of course, you got the best of the best that you siphon from what you dropped off in the Caribbean. So now you got the best of the best. You got the ones who they weren't really trying to fight like that no more. They like, yo, listen, take us where we gotta go. We don't know how you got us here. We don't know what you want, but we want to live, and we're gonna do whatever it takes to to live and thrive, right? Or survive, right? So, and the conditions would have had to have been crazy, right? And these are the conditions that I'm not really sure if, I mean, there's films that's been put out that sort of give people an idea about, what it was like, but I can't really wrap my mind around what it really must have been like without breaking down into tears. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about something that's got to be the darkest hour. You know what I'm saying?